The S word. If you're an investor in gold and silver, you do have a lot to be optimistic about. All the gurus are predicting that we have solid support for the price of gold and silver in 2023, right now. But what about the S word? That's a big, big deal we need to talk about. And I even heard it mentioned on the mainstream media yesterday. The S word alone could provide rocket fuel for the price of silver and gold, as it has many times over the decades. So we do have much to be optimistic about as investors in silver and gold. Let's talk about the S word, and let's do it right now. You ever have a hard time remembering what you had for lunch yesterday? I was thinking about making this video, and I was thinking about at lunch when I saw something on CNBC, and I could not for the life of me remember what I had for lunch yesterday. It's kind of scared me, like I'm getting old. I am 53. Well, nonetheless, this is a huge deal for gold and silver. We aren't going to talk about my lunch. What's going on? What are they talking about on CNBC even now? That will be super supportive at a minimum for the price of silver and gold. So I'm sitting there. I remember what I had, a leftover McDonald's hamburger, chewing on my hamburger, kind of half paying attention to CNBC, and I hear the commentator start to talk about stagflation. And I'm like, what? They're talking about stagflation on CNBC? And she went on to say something along the lines of, and we're hearing more and more analysts talking about stagflation. Guys, take a deep breath. Stagflation is the most fertile soil in the world for the price of silver and gold. You can look it up on your own. Go back to the 70s. Go back to the 80s. The reason why. Do you want to know why? Let's go to school. We know I'm not going to get any coffee delivered from that bell. We'll go to school just for a second. Again, stagflation is a stagnant economy with inflation. A stagnant economy, a recession, if you will, requires the Federal Reserve to be looser, to be dovish, to print money, make unicorn fart dust, however you want to say it, right? And we know that's very supportive for the price of precious metals. But it's even better, because while they're dealing with that slow economy and printing all that money, they're also dealing with high inflation, and printing all that money only exacerbates the inflation problem, which is also super supportive for the price of precious metals. Stagflation's like a floodgate of joy being opened upon the precious metals investors of the world. We don't want to see people suffer with a tough economy. We don't want to see people suffer with inflation, right? Have you been to the grocery store lately? Yes, we have. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But we're investors in silver, in gold, in precious metal mining stocks. And I'm telling you, the stagflation that is likely coming is going to be very, very good for the metals. We'd like to thank our sponsor, First Mining Gold. They're a Canadian gold developer with 2 world-class projects in Canada. They also have a handful of other projects. When you total up all the gold in their resources, it comes to over 12 million ounces. They're worth checking out. I'll put a link to the company's website in the description below. You can turn this video off now if you want, but I thought it would be interesting to ask our good friend, the supercomputer, smartest guy in the world, is stagflation good for the price of gold, for the price of silver? If you want to stick around in an animated fashion, I will read to you what the world's smartest supercomputer said back to me regarding that question. Hello, and welcome to our video on stagflation and its potential impact on the price of silver and gold. Stagflation is an economic condition that can have a significant impact on the value of precious metals, like silver and gold. In this video, we'll explore what stagflation is, how it affects the economy, and whether it's good for the price of silver and gold. So far, so good, supercomputer. So what is stagflation? Stagflation is an economic phenomenon where an economy experiences both stagnant growth and high inflation at the same time. This means that the prices of goods and services are rising, but the economy is not growing. Inflation makes things more expensive. Wow, this computer really is smart. But in a healthy economy, this is offset by economic growth. Stagflation, on the other hand, means that prices are rising while the economy is shrinking or staying stagnant. Stagflation can occur due to a variety of reasons, including too much unicorn fart dust, supply-side shocks such as rising oil prices, or demand-side factors like excessive government spending or monetary policy. We're in the weeds now. Regardless of the cause, stagflation is bad news for the economy because it can lead to decrease in business investment, higher unemployment, and reduced consumer spending. So, is stagflation good for the price of silver and gold? The answer is yes, it can be. Precious metals like silver and gold are often considered to be safe haven assets during times of economic uncertainty and excessive unicorn fart dust money printing. During periods of stagflation, when the economy is in a bad state, investors tend to seek out these safe haven assets as a way to protect their wealth. This increase in demand can drive up the prices of silver and gold. Additionally, because inflation is often a driver of stagflation, precious metals can act as a hedge against inflation. As the value of money decreases due to inflation, the value of precious metals tends to rise. We like that. This is because precious metals have a finite supply, so their value does not decrease as the value of money does. Yes. As a result, investors often turn to silver and gold during times of inflation to protect their purchasing power. So to sum it up, stagflation is an economic condition where an economy experiences both stagnant growth and high inflation at the same time. While stagflation is bad news for the economy as a whole, it can be good for the price of silver and gold. During times of economic uncertainty and inflation, investors tend to seek out these safe haven assets as a way to protect their wealth. This increased demand can drive up the price of silver and gold, making them potentially valuable investments during periods of stagflation. This is the funny part. If you're considering investing in precious metals during a period of stagflation, it's important to do your research and work with a trusted financial advisor. I'll have to ask the supercomputer what exactly a trusted financial advisor would be to determine the best course of action for your individual circumstances. Thank you for watching, and we hope you found this video interesting. Well, there you have it. Even the supercomputer tells us how stagflation is good for the price of gold and the price of silver. Hey, I appreciate you joining me here in the basement. You know you're always welcome. I mean always. You, even when I read you stories from a supercomputer. I hope you decide to come back. I'll see you next time, and be well.